Yes, we can start.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Emma. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Nexell webinar. So the topic of today are the Summer 21 release highlights. So before we get started, I think you already know all of that, those details, but I think it's always a good thing to just introduce those, let's say, rules, but they are not really that strict. But basically, this session is being recorded, and I'll show you in a minute what that means. You already, I think, all turn off your camera. Maybe Ralph, I think I saw yours on. I might, at some point, if needed, I might turn mine off, just for the sake of keeping the bandwidth. We've all been through many online trainings and webinars and so on, and sometimes there could be a bit of stutter and so on. So yeah, that'll be great if you can shut off your camera, and I will probably turn off mine later on. I think that you are already all muted, which is great. We're doing this because obviously we want to avoid any background noise and make sure that this is running smooth and it's clear for you. You can hear me properly. Okay, so it's 10:04. Regarding the questions, you can add your question in the chat in Google Meet. So if you are looking at the screen Google Meet at the moment, you can see at the bottom right, you have a little box where you're going to be able to chat, add your questions, comments, and so on. So we'll answer your question at the end of this webinar. If I cannot, I will make sure to get back to you after that by email, for example. So this session is supposed to be an hour. We took an hour. I'm expecting this to be a bit shorter, and I think that's better for everyone in general. So I'll try to keep it concise. Great. Another quick point. So as you can, maybe you've heard it, maybe not, but this is a recorded session, sorry. And what does that mean? Well, simply we happen to have a YouTube channel at Nexell, which is called Netflix, in which you are going to be able to go ahead and browse, review all of our video content. So feel free after this webinar to go ahead and check it out. And of course, this particular session is going to be there for you to access. So you're going to be able to go ahead and do that. So feel free to check out the video after the webinar, like, subscribe, comment, share, and so on. There's great content here. We have podcasts, we have features that we've been putting out, that's the Swiss QR code, which can be interesting and of use to you. So feel free to go ahead and review those. All right, great. So let's continue. Now I'm going to just go further with today's agenda. Is going to be pretty straightforward. Right. So I'm going to start with a quick intro about myself. Some of you may already know me. Some of you don't. So I'm just going to have a few words about myself. And then we're going to look at briefly release cycles, Salesforce release cycles, how it works in general, and how you can get more information about it. Salesforce release notes. So these are the Bible when it comes to Salesforce release, and this is where you're going to be able to find extensive information about all of the content that I talked to you today, and obviously a lot more. And then the third point is going to be the release highlights review. So I'm going to go through 7 items that I selected in a huge information that you can find in the notes. And then finally, resources. So I'll share those resources with you. At the end of this webinar, we'll be sending you an email, follow-up email, with all the links to the different resources and materials that I will use during this session. Okay, just a bit of coffee. Okay, let's continue. So quick intro, just to to introduce myself. So my name is Julian. You can obviously find me on LinkedIn. So this is the link to my LinkedIn page. You can just search for me, add me if you like. So we also have a LinkedIn at Nexell where we push a lot of information. This might where you might have found this information about this particular webinar, but our marketing team is permanently adding some more information, so you can always find what you need here. A lot of content, everything we put online. So feel free to check out our LinkedIn account. So a quick word about me. I am a consultant, CRM consultant, as you might have guessed, but also a cloud future sales engineer. So in short, it means that I am also working on preparing nice demonstrations for soon-to-be clients so that they can project themselves in Salesforce. Right, so I've been working in IT for over 4 years now. It's going to be almost 5 pretty soon. I am, like all of my colleagues at Nexell, I am certified. I have 3 certifications. In terms of my my background, in terms of my scholar background, I graduated from an MBA, so that's a master's in business administration. And in terms of my activities, I'm a casual runner, so I'd like to go ahead and keep myself fit. So I'm sure maybe there's a few runners in the crowd this morning, so happy to discuss this in more details if you'd like. Last point, bottom right, you can see the beautiful picture of Geneva. Why? Simply because I am working from the Geneva office. Of course, we do have offices across Switzerland, Brugge, Bern, Lugano, so you can find us all across the country. Okay, all right. Now, I'm sorry there's a bit of background noise. I hope that it's fine. So a quick word about the release cycles. So I'm sure you're aware about this, but I think it's, since we are talking about the release, I think it's also a point to make here. So we have, Salesforce has 3 main releases per year. There are spring, summer, and winter. So those are seamless automatic upgrades that are delivered in real time with no downtime. That's pretty quick. I'll show you in a minute how fast this is. And then in terms of the upgrade for the new release, so in order for you to see the release ahead of having it in production, you're going to have it into a sandbox prior to having it prod, so that you are going to be able to test and play and look at the new feature and see which are the ones that can add values to your organization or non-profit organization as well. So these happen usually in the sandbox about a month to 6 weeks prior to being released into productions. So we'll see more in details about schedule and dates. So in general, you're going to have your sandbox preview in about January, May, and September. So for production, you can add a month to that: February, June, and October, right? So I'm gonna just quickly leave my presentation to show you about where you can find information on your particular instances. Okay, so let me just leave. So the idea behind that, of course, is for you to be able to prepare, review, and anticipate the new releases to come. So let me just go out of my screen here. So I'm going to jump into. Let me go back here. I'm going to jump into trust.salesforce.com. So let me just get back to the main site, to the main landing page, if you may. Let's just give it a second. It should be coming up soon. So this is where you're going to be able to go ahead and check out the different on the different instances that you have, the different and various dates for the different release. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and take a couple examples to make this more clear. So for example, I'm going to look here at a sandbox example. So the instance is called CS128. There is many different naming of instances. Usually comes after the location where you're at. So NA will be North America, EU, Europe, and so on and so on. Yeah, so for example, and yes, you can find this information on your org. You go to your setup, and then under setup, you type in company. And at this level on company, you're going to be able to view what is your instance. And then you can go to trust.salesforce.com and then look for the status of your org. So if I look into this particular example, which is a sandbox example, so I type in my instance, and then I go ahead and go a bit deeper into the details. So I'm going to land on the status of this sandbox. Everything's running smoothly at the moment. So if there were any specific information or disruption, you will find it here. You have also the history tab, so you can go into different dates, select a date to see, if there is any events that happen, if there are disruption and so on, you'll get the information. And then finally, kind of the point where I'm making today is the maintenance tab. So this is where you will be able to go ahead and preview when the release will happen. So in that particular example, this is the sandbox. So I was saying September, but as you can see here, it's even a bit earlier, August 28th. So this is when the winter 22 is going to come up. So as you can see, we're in June, so this is pretty soon. So this is always ongoing. So you can see the winter release and the next spring release for next year, January. And then an important also information you can get here at the top right corner, you have a subscribe button. So if you wanna stay informed and always be on top of any information that will be concerning for your instance, you can go ahead, click the subscribe button, type in your email, and then you'll be able to sign in to receive the different notification to always stay up to date with release and also different implementation from Salesforce. Last point, I'm just gonna go back here. Okay, I'm just gonna look at the an example of production environment. So this was a sandbox previously. I'm just gonna quickly look at the production environment just to show you the difference. So this is the same ID, and here you can see when it's going to be pushed to production. You can see the difference in terms of timeline, which, as we said, is usually a month to 6 weeks. So in this particular instance, the Summer'21 release has been done on the 5th of June, and then the next one for winter is going to be October 2nd. And then if you want to have maybe a bit more insights or information on, for example, the Summer'21 release, you can click on that link here, and you're going to be able to find a bit more additional information. As I was saying, those releases are usually scheduled way in advance, and you'll get informed when 10 days before this happens. Usually, the maintenance happen on the weekend, probably a Sunday, and as you can see here, this took 1 minute and 8 seconds. So there's going to be no disruption for you, for your users, as this go on. Right. Okay. So our next point is going to be about the Salesforce release notes. So just up here on my demonstration. So I'm going to jump in directly into the website where you can find this information. Of course, the Trust website as well as the release note, you will have those information as well in the follow-up email. So let me just get back here for a second. So when you look for this release note, so you can type it in Google. Obviously, I'm not teaching you anything, but you're going to be able to get those from there. And also, there's you can get this information as a PDF if you prefer to have a hard copy and save it or send it over. You can click on the download button right here next to the PDF, or you can do it from here and click here as well. So you'll have a bit of insights about how you can use the release notes, right? So why? Because obviously the release notes are a very important document. It's quite extensive. It's quite long. So in this example, this Summer 21 release note, it's 641 pages. So you might want to be able to ease the navigation a bit. And in order to do so, what I could recommend is, of course, to if there are specific features that you want to jump in and zoom in that you know about, but you want just to have the description and the look of how it's going to be, you can just type it in a search. So you type in whichever feature you want to check out. So this, for example, is the history of the one I looked at before. And of course, you can use filters. So filters will allow you to narrow down the results, as you can imagine, and you all know that. So you can choose if you want to zoom in on Salesforce Classic. If you're still on Classic, I think now most of the users are in Lightning experience, but if you happen to still use Classic, you can then select, for example, Lightning experience, mobile if you'd like. Then you can zoom in on your particular edition. So of course, some features are available in some editions. So I would suggest that you select the one that you have. Again, if you go to your setup in your Salesforce org, it will be under company. You'll know which edition you're on. And then feature impact. I think this is pretty important because you're going to have a different level of impact. You're going to have what's enabled right off the bat for the users. So the first one, for example, I think it's a must check, because that means that your users are going to have access to those. There's not going to be any need for an admin doing anything there. So I would suggest that you start off with this. Then, of course, you have the enable for admins. So you have features that are right off the bat enable for users, enable for admins. And you, of course, you have also a feature that needs to be enabled by you if you're the admin or your admin in your org. And then finally, quickly, you can choose a product area. So whether it's sales, service, mobile, specific industries, and so on. And then you can go ahead and apply your filters and then navigate into the different results that you're going to get. Okay, so so I think that's pretty clear. And here you can remove one feature, or you can clear them all to get back to the landing page. Okay, great. So let's continue. Let me just check my presentation here for a second. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly present that again. So we've seen about how release notes works. So here, that's the main focus of today. These are the 7 highlights that I chose to talk to you about today and show you. Again, this is really a small selection of features. There are many, many more. For different reasons, I picked those one up because I think it makes more sense for a webinar to have the most obvious ones. But if you are a bit more advanced or technical, there are more complex release features as well. So you can see the list here that I'm going to go through. So just quickly, we're going to look at the first feature, download a dashboard image to a file. Then we're going to look at the see record access reasons in Lightning experience, save time with mass action in split view, the in-app guidance center that is for admins, the free in-app guidance walkthrough to help your users, the a quick zoom in for admins, specifically the possibility to create a permission set with expiration date. That's pretty new. And then finally, I just have a very quick check on the native Sales Navigator integration for LinkedIn, and I'll explain a bit further what are the prerequisites for you to reach out to those. Okay, so just to give you just a bit of a vision of the feature that I'm going to go ahead and show you. So I'll be showing each of these features in Salesforce org. Without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. So the first point of business is download an image from a dashboard. So let me go to my dashboard here. Just a quick check before I continue. Emma, can you still hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, great, excellent. Thank you for the feedback. All right. Okay, so first feature. So if you are new to Salesforce, you might think to yourself, this is very basic, which I understand. If you are not new to Salesforce and you've been here like me for a few years, then this little feature is going to come in pretty handy. So you can simply go to your dashboard, and on the arrow here down, you will see that you have the download button, right? So this is pretty straightforward. When you click on that button, you will get an image from your dashboard on your computer. So you can see here on my screen that I just received it, and I'm going to open it, and you're going to see that as well in a second. All right. So yeah, again, it might seem obvious if you're new to Salesforce. If you're not, you know that you would appreciate having the image. So it's a PNG format file that will be downloaded to your computer directly. So you can use these in your demo, in your emails, in your presentations. So that saves you from having to log into Salesforce. You can share that, and that's really handy. And I really appreciate. I think that's it's been asked for a while now from the community. And I'm happy to see that Salesforce listened and has offered this feature. So just to quickly recap, you go to your dashboard, click on the download button, and it will be uploaded to your computer. All right, so that was a quick start for this first feature on the download image from a dashboard, right? So the next feature we will discuss about today is the see the access record reason in Lightning experience. So this is a feature that you might have been familiar with if you have come from the classic experience, because this is something that you had access previously in classic that you didn't have in Lightning, and that now is available. So I think this is a great feature. It's coming very handy. I know I've already used it, and I'm sure that you will appreciate that as well. So without further ado, I'm going to show you an example here at account level. So here, it will be a button. So I'm at my account here, and I want to know who can have access to this Burlington Textile Corp of America account, because I want to know who can see, right? So what I can do is go ahead and click on my arrow and check the button called Sharing Hierarchy. So again, arrow down, button Sharing Hierarchy. Once you click on this button, you'll have a clear vision of who does have access to your record. It's very important, especially if for a reason you had changed your sharing permissions and some users don't have access anymore, or if they have access but then they have maybe a more limited access. So for example, here we can see that Sandra Duval has a read-write access to the account, has no access to cases because it's remained private, and will have a read-only access to my related opportunity. And if I would like to, I can also drill down a bit further and click on this view button. So this view button under the user access details here. And if I click on this view button, I'm going to be able to dig a bit deeper and see the user and the reason for access. So this is where you're going to be able to see how did this person gain access to that particular record. So it could be from their role, it could be from a territory, it could be from a sharing rule, or in that instance, for example, this is manual sharing. So I gave Sandra access. And then finally, the level of access. So in the previous release, in spring 21, you have had access to another button called sharing, and I'm going to get back to the account here and show you that in a second, because these two buttons go hand in hand, right? So you go to the arrow as well, and you have the sharing button. You click on that sharing button, and this is where, when you are the record owner, for example, on this particular account, you're going to be able to go ahead and give access to either a user, a group, or roles and role subordinates. Or, and this is also an additional thing here, if you can see that at the bottom, you're going to be able to, if you click edit next to share with two group of users here, you're going to be able to see at a glance the access of Sandra. And you can also you will also have the ability to change the type of access she's got to the account, case, and opportunity. So this is one thing, and you can save that. And what you can also do is just use the arrow here to completely remove access from Sandra to this record. That would be one click, and that's it. You save your record and you're done. So this is very handy. Again, it was readily accessible in the Salesforce Classic, but I'm glad that this is coming to Lightning. I think it was due, and I'm quite happy to see it here. So it's going to probably help a lot of people who are wondering how and why. So some other users had access to that record. So I think it's an important feature here. Okay, so that was my second feature, see record access reason in the Lightning experience. Right, so I'm going to continue ahead with my third feature, which is called Save Time with Mass Action in Split View. So let's have a look at what this is and what this looks like. So let me take a quick step back here and go back to the table view. So here I took the example of the leads object. So you already probably know this. You are able to use your actions here from the this view here, the table view. But now you are able to also do this from the split view. So I'm going to jump into a split view now. So I'm going here, display as, and I'm going to switch to a split view. So before, you were not able, if you were working mainly split view, to use those actions in split view. Now you will be able to. So let's take an example. So here we have Berta Boxer, that's one of my lead, and we have Betty Bear as well, that's also one of my leads. And as you can see here, for example, we have the status of Betty and Berta that are set to open, not contacted. And actually, that's not quite right. because I did set up some activities with those leads. Here I can see that I'm going to have a call with Laura tomorrow. You can see the call under the activity. And if we look at Betty, we can see as well that I'm going to have a meeting with her that is scheduled on the 29th of June. So definitely those are not at the right status here. So what I can do is use the mass action. So I can select my leads. I select 2, but it can be more, of course. And I can use the actions in order to update them at once. So here, for example, I'm going to be able to change the status. So if I click on change status, I can move them directly from open not contacted, which is not actually correct, to working contacted, because I'm already working on these leads and I'm already have some activities ready. So I can go ahead and save this. And as you can see, you have the message that the update was done for the 2 leads, and you can see that the status were changed directly. So both will have updated statuses on the leads. So another quick example, I think you get the point, but another quick example that could make sense on your usage. You might want to say, listen, I have a campaign that my marketing team has created, and I think that those two leads, fit into this particular campaign, and I'd like to add them to this. So you can also do the same, and you can add them to a campaign directly from your split view here. So you can select add to campaign, and then you can select the campaign. So for example, I know that they are both interested with this particular product. And since I'm doing a webinar at the end of the month, I want to make sure that they are both invited. So I'm going to go ahead and link those 2 leads to my campaign. I can choose the status. I'm going to push it to send. And then I can submit. And obviously, once it is submitted, the records will be updated. And you should see in the campaign history that you will have those 2 leads in our campaign. Let me just click here. So you can see here now, Berta has the campaign link to her in the campaign history, and the same goes for Betty. So this is just a quick example of how you can use the mass action in split view. So you might have been familiar with this feature, but this is coming to split view. So that's the idea of where you can use it, and a couple of scenarios that I thought about that will make sense for you. Okay, so this feature was my 3rd feature. This is save time with mass action in split view. Again, in my email at the end, I will make sure to give you the link to all of this information so that you can look at those as well. Okay, a quick one. This one is about Guidance Center. So in the previous spring release, Salesforce introduced the learning path here. It's this button at the top right of your screen. When you open this up, you get that side window here that pops open. And this is where you can create and add some learning resources for your new onboarded employees, for example. And the addition that comes up here in this release for the Guidance Center that is added here. So if you jump into this Guidance Center, you're going to be able to have information. So this is for administrators. You're going to be able to have some content about the best practices for admins. So this is very important content that's going to help you if you need to learn more about as you're taking on the new role of being the admin of the Salesforce platform in your company or nonprofit. You can see some information that's very important. So how to guide you on how to import and manage data, for example. You can have a lot more information, create custom fields, custom objects, track metrics with reports and dashboard, and so on. So this is a great content for admins that will help you get up to speed with how to get into the Salesforce culture and how to be able to quickly get up to speed and use Salesforce to its best. So the fourth feature that is the guidance center that you can find here. So again, you click on your learning paths button at the top of your screen, and then you'll have under guidance center the related learning resources available. So this was the fourth feature to show you today. Now, the next feature is kind of correlates with that first feature and goes kind of hand in hand with this one, which is about involving and onboarding users, for example, which is the in-app guidance feature. So this is I'm here now in the setup. This is where you're going to be able to go ahead and set up your in-app guidance. So what I did is I simply created a very simple walkthrough. It's pretty simple, but just to give you the example of what it looks like. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to jump to my other tab here, where I can give you an overview of what this looks like. Okay, so when you will be on your, actually, let me go here. Exactly, yes, that's what I wanted to show you. When the users, so you're going to be able to select which users that you want to show this to and how often, right? So for example, here I created a very simple walkthrough that is here to explain to my users, and especially new recruits that are new to Salesforce, how they can use and take advantage of list views. So you have a bit of content, you have your title, get to know the power of list views, and then you have a bit of a description here that explains to you how they can help you to prioritize, analyze your record, and so on. And then what you can do, you can go next, and you'll be prompted with as many prompts as you set up. The users can also choose to snooze. So if they need to quickly get up to their account and they want to watch this later, they can obviously just push it an hour, 3 hours, tomorrow, next week, so that they can review that later. And you can choose, of course, how often you want this to pop up. So it could be only once, or it could be once a week. So it will be for you to go ahead and set up. So this is the first prompt that I did set. If I go ahead and continue, we have a second one. So it's explaining how you can, if you're landing on the recently viewed, which you are landing on by default, you can choose a different list here, and then you can pin the list that you want to keep with this pin icon right here. So this is, again, just a simple step to familiarize your users with list view. And then if I click next, I'm going to have my final prompt, where I'm going to go ahead and explain that they're going to be able to use the inline editing feature if they want to modify information on records directly from the list view. And of course, the information about the funnel here that they will be able to use in order to make sure to filter to get the specific information that they want to zoom in on, whether it's the records that they own or maybe a territory, and so on. And I'll be also able to add content here. As you can see, you have a link to a video. So if I click to that link, I'm going to be taken to, in this instance, an example of a YouTube video. So let it just load for a second. And this YouTube video is on how Visio work. So this is an additional content for the users in order to make them familiar with list view. So these prompts can be used on any object here, and you can have one, you can have two, you can have three, you can have five, as many as you want. And no, sorry, actually three. You can set up three or walk through, and then it's pretty simple. So like I was mentioning before, you go to your setup, you look for in-app guidance, and here you're going to be able to go ahead and add a new in-app guidance walkthrough. So on that screen here, I'm in the edit mode. So here you can see a bit of behind the scene and how this was set up. So you're going to be able to select the type of prompt that you want. If you want it to be docked or floating, so here I choose to have it floating. You're going to be able to choose where you want to position it. So you can have it front, center, bottom, middle, wherever you want to place it, wherever that makes sense for you, depending on where you're showing those prompts. You're going to be able to change the theme color if you want to have it a different layout. And then here you're going to be able to add your title. So this is what will appear here. Your body here. You're going to be able to add a picture. So here I've added a quick screenshot of a list view, for example. And then yeah, that's pretty much how it works. And then you can add your steps here, and you can move on to the different prompts that you do have, and you can change them, update them, and so on. So this is quite handy. So this was my feature number 5, which is the 3 custom walkthrough that you get for free for in-app guidance. All right. So now let's jump into the 6th feature, which is the expiration date for permission sets. So I have here a quick example. So in order to set this up, you will go to your setup, and then you will look for permission set groups here. And then you will be able to, so that's also working for permission sets, of course, permission set groups and permission sets. When you create your new permission set, so for example, I've created one just for the webinar here, but just for the example, it's pretty straightforward, right? And then, so you know this probably already. You give the different permission that you need to allow these users. And then when you're gonna go ahead and manage the assignments, and this is where you will add the users to this particular permission set. So I'm gonna go ahead and click Add Assignments in order to add a new user. So I'm gonna go ahead and add Sandra. Just quick sound check. Emma, can you hear me well? Everything going all right?
Yes, all good. Thanks, Julian.
Okay, because I can hear some sound, so I was wondering if all was okay. So thank you very much for checking in. Okay, good. All right, thank you. So here you're going to select, like I was saying, the user. So for example, I'm going to select Sandra here. I'm going to go next, and this is where the change happens. So here you're going to be able to specify an expiration date for your permission set group or permission set. This is really new. So that will come in handy in scenarios where, so you can choose the time expiration. So whether you want to have a permission for a day, a week, 30 days, 60 days, or a custom date where you're going to just choose yourself a specific date. And then you're going to select your time zone. So let's go ahead and select. Doesn't really matter. So let me just get sorry about this. Okay, and then you're going to be able to assign this permission set for Sandra. So the point here, the idea is that, for example, Sandra is going to be working with us, let's say for a couple months. She's working on specific objects. She's working for a specific project in this specific object, and we want to give her a specific permission but we want only her to have this permission for a specific set of time, and make sure that automatically, when the expiration date fires on, the permission set will be automatically removed, and Sandra will no longer have access to this permission. That will be automatically removed. So that can be handy in the sense that you won't want to have to deal with the always checking in for the permission and knowing who has what and who should I deactivate. If this is a good use case for you, then you can go ahead and use this feature here.
Julien,
so this was
yes. Julien, we have a question from Michel. He asked for permission expiration date. Will admin get info when expire automatically? So do you get a note when the expiration date happened to be?
No, you will not get any notification on this. So this is the idea. But I will get back to you on that as well, Michel, and just double check on those. But to me, there is no specific notification. But let me just double check. I'd like to double check this and get back to you. So on set expiration. I'll email you separately, and I'll give you the information on this. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Sorry, another question from Michelle.
Yes.
So if the date is not correct, will the admin wait for the access to the incident ticket?
Sorry, what's that?
If the date is not correct, if the date is too short, for example, from what you've shown, do you get an incident ticket? So you have to raise an incident ticket? What's the best way to correct that?
You can go ahead and you can modify the expiration date as you wish.
Yeah, maybe it's easier we talk, Julian. So what I just think is practical case, right? So as you say, business situation is you have someone who's planned to work on something for 3 months. And then you say, okay, so I give 3 months access, everything fine. Then business reality kicks in and the 3 months is too short. It has to be an extra month, but IT doesn't get informed about that, right? So after 3 months, the access expires, and all of a sudden, IT is faced with a ticket, wondering why the user doesn't have access anymore.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So it's really about closed loop, right? Because the challenge is your business processes. IT is notoriously bad informed about these changes in business. So if you set up something, either the user should be giving heads up that the access is going to expire, so they can then proactively ask for extension, or IT has this notification when the incident hits, they can quickly find, okay, it was an automatic expire, so they can fix it quickly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I see your point. So
that's my point. So probably
it's
through the whole process, but it just I didn't see it yet. Yeah.
No, but you're correct. This is absolutely key here. So you have to be quite careful when you use it, and make sure that you're setting the right timing. So, but I understand your point, and I'll get back to you on this. Of course, if you don't have information, the end user, if they need to have longer access, might send you a ticket. That's absolutely correct. So let me get back to this. I don't think there is a notification here, but I'd like to double check and get back to you with more details. If that's okay.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, I'll make sure to follow up. Thank you for your question. All right, thank you, Michel. So the last feature that I wanted to talk about today is linked to LinkedIn. So let me just get back to my screen sharing. Let me just go back here for a second. All right. So this is a bit specific, as it only concerns the users that do have either a Sales Navigator team license or an enterprise team license with LinkedIn. So if you have one of those only, there's been a change in the approach that you're going to have with Sales Navigator, in the sense that now it is natively integrated within Salesforce. So if you do have either the Sales Navigator team license or the enterprise license in LinkedIn, then you're going to be able to have natively access to these components, for example, the one you're seeing on the screen now. So that means that in the past, you had to go to the App Exchange and you had to upload the package and install it. Now this is over. You don't have to do it anymore. You can simply add it. It will be a component in your Lightning App Builder that you can simply drag and drop. And then from there, you're going to be able to take advantage of the LinkedIn functionality of email, connection request, and so on. So this is just a quick one for the one of you who do have, again, a Sales Navigator team or enterprise license. So I quite insist because I think that's important that we narrow it down on these particular points. All right. Okay, so now let's just continue. So I will be sure, as I said, I think a few times, to share the materials with you, the trust access and the release notes. Okay, so it's 10:53, and I'm arriving at the end of this webinar. So if you would like now, you can unmute yourself. I know that already Michelle went ahead and asked some questions. If you have any questions, so feel free to unmute yourself and ask them. So yeah, after this session, we will send you an email with all the information, also to get your feedback. And the different links, the link to this video that you will find on our YouTube as well. And then, yes, that's maybe one more point that I wanted to mention. I think I did not. We're having a quick networking event in our office in Geneva on the 8th of July from 5 p.m. So if you are in the Geneva region and if you'd like to meet us in person, I can share an invitation with you so that you come and join us for an informal event where we can discuss around a drink and see ourselves in person. Now that the restrictions have been are a bit more easy now. So yeah, do you have any questions? Feel free to let me know. I'm just going to give it maybe a minute.
Thanks a lot, Julian. So as Julian mentioned, yes, I'll send you a little note where you can get the link to the recording and also an evaluation surveys. And if you need anything, just don't hesitate to contact us. So thanks again, Julian. Any question, anything else? Okay. So
all right. Thank you very much. So yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up. It's 10:55. I'm happy that I'm on time. I hope that you find this content interesting. I thank you very much for your time. We always push new webinars and so on. So follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on the YouTube channel, and get up to speed with everything that we're making available for you guys. So thank you very much for your time. Have a nice rest of your day, and I'm happy to see you maybe in person or to see you later in another webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.